Good Thursday morning. It is not Tiki. It is not Tierney. No, it's Pete Hoffman with you right now, as there was a flat tire that took place, and Tiki is on his way in, and I'm filling in for the moment. You can give me a call, 877-337-6666, as I fill in for Tiki and Tierney for a little bit here. But let's be honest here, Mets fans, this is about you. The panic has started to set in already. 3 games in a row you've lost. And the panic has started. There's a pit in your stomach, and it reminds you of I'm going to say a dirty word here right now, a Wilpon-esque led New York Met team. It feels like the legs have been kicked out of you. It feels like the beginning of the end to this New York Met beautiful season. DeGrom, there's really no amazing news. Scherzer, he had a start in the minors yesterday. Good. But when is he going to be back? Carlos Carrasco gets rocked the other day. And then Jason freaking Castro hits a 2-run bomb off of Drew Smith. And again, 4 games against the Astros, you can't win one of them. And the team looks kind of lifeless at the moment. And the panic is starting to brew. And there is a very simple solution. There is an extremely simple solution to this. And you have an owner and a GM that I think is well aware of what they can do, how to add a little life to this team. You have a month before the trade deadline. So I'm not saying go and trade somebody tomorrow, but what I'm saying is this. There's a guy by the name of Francisco Alvarez sitting in the minors, crushing home run after home run after home run, who caught Max Scherzer yesterday, and he did fine for him, and they did well together. And there is no reason to not have him up tomorrow. He should have been here yesterday. Because when you have Dom Smith, when you have J.D. Davis, who are giving you nothing, Eduardo Escobar, nothing, and Ciarte you call up. Yeah, he got a nice bunt single. Barely got on base. We got lucky on that. 2 hit by the Astros yesterday. You need a little life. Now, I'm not saying Francisco Alvarez is saving the season. And realistically, the Mets still aren't in any crazy far-off place. They're still 18 games over 500. There's still 3 games lead in the NL East. So it's not like the sky has completely fallen, but there is no reason not to be proactive. This ownership has been proactive. This is not Wilpons. This is Steve Cohen. This is Billy Epler. There is no reason not to be proactive and bring up a spark plug. We've seen it before. We've seen it just recently in Pittsburgh not too long ago. This guy, O'Neal Cruz, 6'7" shortstop. Hitting home runs, getting on base. Bring a little life to this team that looks lifeless. Now, it's not the end of the world, but it feels like it. Why? Because Mets fans, we don't have to look back too far in our history to see the disappointment, to see this horror story over and over and over. So why are we sitting there where someone literally is crushing home runs on a daily basis? He's batting .280. He looks like he's well above grade with the bat. And we're not asking him to come and be a catcher. We just need someone to hit. I mean, that's all you need. You need someone to be able to extend the lineup a little bit, add a little protection to Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. Just somebody, something. And you know what? If in 2 weeks it doesn't work out, no big deal. You just get to test them for a little bit, and then you make a move. Then you make a trade at the deadline. See what you have. It's not that big of a deal to call him up, especially while he's hot. What are you going to call him up in a month from now when it's like kind of cooled off, but we really desperately now need somebody? Let's see what he's got. No, he's on fire. That's when you do it. Give him a little taste. And if he's not ready, no big deal. Again, this is not complete panic mode, but they're getting there. And that is the problem. That is the issue, is there is no reason to go down that road. If you can prevent it, then do it. Yet we're sitting here already, last day of June, and it always feels like it comes to this. The June swoon. It's not that hard of a move. And the New York Mets, they're notorious for this. So give confidence to the fan base. Give confidence to the fans, the ones that are there thick and thin. Show them that you are different. Make the move. Call Francisco Alvarez. Done. End of story. 877-337-6666. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Let's get to the phones. 877-337-6666. Joe is in Clark. Joe, what's going on? Welcome to the fan.
What's up, brother? I couldn't agree with you more. 100%. I've been saying with that Alvarez. I understand he's a catcher. Just let him hit. I don't care. He doesn't have to catch. I'm tired of watching our 6 through 9 in our lineup. Basically, it's 4 pitchers, 4 bad pitchers hitting for us. Escobar, total 0. Catcher position, total 0. DH position, total 0. It's the worst in baseball by miles.
Joe,
those positions. Miles.
Joe, listen. We've talked about forever, and we were not proponents. Most National League fans were like, we don't want the DH. We can't do it.
Oh, my God.
But if the DH ever does come to New York, to the Mets, it's going to be phenomenal because guess what? We have so many excess hitters. It's going to be phenomenal. Yeah. And we have a dead spot. It's a DH. It's a free bat. It's a dead spot.
Bro, DeGrom, I said it right here. If DeGrom was a DH this year, just a DH, he would be twice as good as both of those guys combined. That's how bad they are. It's a black hole. And I'm tired of it, bro. I'm telling you right now. I've been panicking for a couple weeks now. I saw the Braves coming. The Braves are going to be in first place within a couple weeks. There's no doubt in my mind they will. So it's going to be wild card or bust, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
No.
Yes, I'm telling you, Pete. Yes, bro. I'm telling you, man. I see it coming. Unless they bring up, like you said, they bring up Alvarez to hit, and they got to make trades, bro. They get their lineup right now from after 5 is nothing. It's 0. You can't get any worse.
Joe,
I'm tired of it, bro.
Joe, thank you so much for the phone call. Listen, the Mets are going to be very competitive. I'm very confident that they're going to make moves, but there's no reason to wait a month. Like, think about it last year. When did the Mets were in first place pretty much all season and it took till August 6th for them to lose the first place lead. And now at that point in time, they were like 56 and 53, something like that. So it wasn't like they were running away with it. No, the division's just better. The Braves, like we knew, were always going to be around. So the fact is that this Mets team is still in a good position, and they could still run away with it at some point in time. But why make the Mets fans go through this, rigmarole, this sickening feeling that they're not going to do enough to make this team better? We're not asking for you to go out and trade for Juan Soto. We're not asking you to go trade for, Wilson Contreras even tomorrow. We're just saying, Francisco Alvarez, just call him up. Give him a couple weeks. And I don't need him to catch. That's the other thing, too. The misperception of Francisco Alvarez, you're going to stunt his growth as catcher. You're just going to bring him up to hopefully learn the position. If he catches 1 day a week, that's nothing. And by the way, he caught Max Scherzer yesterday. So that's kind of a big deal. If he caught Max Scherzer yesterday, he can catch him in a week. All right? He's learning on the spot. That's fine, but you don't have to give him every day. But what you can use is his bat, which is what the New York Mets. And listen, BT's been on this airwaves from day one, and I never disagreed saying that the bat was a major flaw, and the New York Mets definitely needed a bat. However, yesterday, if you scored some runs, it wouldn't have been the biggest issue because Drew Smith giving up that home run ruined the game. The fact that you were lifeless against Justin Verlander, but if you were able to find a way to get to him, if you could have gotten to him a little bit, it wouldn't have been a big deal or a bigger pressure situation for Drew Smith. Buck Showalter read the room perfectly. He did what he had to do. He realized Taijuan Walker pushed him in the 8th, got him to get the first out, and then he brought in Edwin Diaz. Could he push Edwin Diaz a little further? Possibly. He chose not to, wanted to give him a little bit more rest. That backfired. and Drew Smith blew the game to Jason freaking Castro. 877-337-6666. Chris is in Manhattan. What's going on, Chris? How we doing?
Brother, I can't agree more on Alvarez. So Francisco Alvarez in 163 games since 2021, 273, 42, 117 RBIs. Now, exactly what you said I agree with. It's time to promote. I would promote him and Beatty. I'd promote both of them, honestly. It's time for those eras to start.
Or Vientos. Everyone's saying about Vientos too, which is fine. And again, it makes sense because he's a third baseman, and right now that's a lackluster spot with Eduardo Escobar. I get it.
Well, yeah, and the J.D. Davis and Dom Smith experiment, I'm starting to get the end of my ropes with both of those people. And if I have to hear them on the Met broadcast give me some ridiculous stat about J.D. Davis hits the ball harder than Aaron Judge, I don't care. What does it mean? It means nothing. It's not working. So I'm all for promoting these guys. And the other reason is I think we have such a strong manager. We have a good, solid team. I don't think we'd be overly burdening these. I understand bringing up prospects when you feel like they have to be a savior, and I don't think they would have to be that here. I think they'd have to complement, and I think there's enough veteran presence that it's the perfect time.
Chris, thanks so much for the phone call. Listen, when you have Dom Smith and J.D. Davis combined 2 home runs, that is significantly taking a portion of your DH spot. Between Dom Smith and J.D. Davis, they're splitting the DH role, kind of. And they have 2 home runs? Something needs to change. I'm not saying panic mode 100%, but that's almost like a fireable offense. You're allowing Dom Smith and J.D. Davis to take up a spot that they can't hit the ball well for power? Then what are you doing there? What are you actually doing? You're giving people a day off, day rest. Pete Alonso fills in dates here and there. It's got to be more. It's an easy fix, actually. Nelson Cruz was there in the offseason. They could have brought him in at DH. I know he only has 8 home runs this season. He's getting older. He's 42 years old, but 43 RBIs. He's batting about 250, something like that. That's the type of person you want to bring in to a DH role. Francisco Alvarez, I think, would blow away anybody right now on this Major League roster. They need more protection. Listen, Pete Alonso is the only real power threat. Francisco Lindor is not a power threat. He is a good clutch hitter. In big-time spots, he's come through. That's why he's 4th on the list or 5th on the list with RBIs this season. Because when there's runners in scoring position, he finds a way to get a bat in the ball. That is amazing. But I need more protection. And here's the thing, too, is if Francisco Alvarez can be anything to this New York Mets team this year for this next month, trade deadline comes around, you don't need to go above and beyond to fix that position, to fill that spot. And you can just focus on the bullpen because realistically, and we'll get into that a little bit later, who can you actually rely on in the bullpen besides Edwin Diaz? And who the hell thought we'd ever say that? 877-337-6666. Mickey in Walcott. What's going on, Mickey?
Hey, brother. Good morning, man. Hey, listen, I got a lot to get off my chest. So I'll start with this. All right? It doesn't matter if it's baseball. It doesn't matter if it's basketball. It doesn't matter if it's football, any sport. Whenever a player is getting too comfortable, you need to rattle the cages. And that's what's going on with a lot of our players right now. They're a little too comfortable. They're a little too comfortable. You can see it at the bat. You can see it at the plate. You can see how their approach is. I love them. I love this team to death. And I wouldn't want to change anything about it. But sometimes you got to rattle the cage.
Mickey, can I tell you something? I love my 12-year-old son, JD. He's amazing. But if he was batting 200, I'd find a way to trade him off the team. I'm sorry.
Right? And if that takes up bringing people from Syracuse or wherever you got to bring them up from, make it happen. I love this catcher, and I agree with you. Even if you're just bringing him up as a DH, let him get a couple catches here and there, but at least as a DH, come on, man, this guy's hitting. Make it happen.
There is no reason. And Mickey, thank you so much for the phone call. And this is what I'm saying. The Mets fans are starting to feel it. It's kind of getting scary. And there is no reason to sit through a whole July of, we'll wait for the trade deadline to make a move. Scherzer should be coming back hopefully next week. That's the hope. But I haven't seen it yet. There's a lot of things that I haven't seen. I need to see a little proactivity here. Ender Inciarte is not the activity that I'm looking for. That is a very Wilpon-esque move. That's dirty, okay? That doesn't make me feel good. That makes the panic kind of set in. It's a very lazy move. I know he's 31 years old. He's been around a little bit, but that's not what we're looking for. That reminds me of the Pagan moves, the Angel Pagan moves back in the day, or the Torreses back in the day. Just bringing an outfielder in because whatever. It's if you have an opportunity to bring somebody in that can actually be an impact on the New York Mets, then do it. It's lazy not to. 877-337-6666. Cody is in Manhattan. What's going on, Cody? How we doing?
What's going on, buddy? How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. What's up?
Nah, I hear you. So my biggest thing is you just pointed it out. I mean, I'm worried about the hitting. You know, I'm worried about who's going to end up playing third base and who's going to do this, who's going to DH and everything. The bottom third of the lineup being as crappy as it is. But the bullpen, I'm worried about the bullpen. You look over at over in the Bronx and you got a hell of a bullpen with the Yankees, and then you look over in the Mets and they're signing all these big hitters and blah blah blah. You know, spend a lot of money on Lindor. Spent a lot of money on Scherzer for starting and so on and so forth, but they have no bullpen except for Diaz, who, like you said, really, you never thought you'd say that's our number one go-to in the bullpen.
No, it was to think that Edwin Diaz would be this elite. Now, listen, and thank you, Cody, for the phone call. I appreciate it. For anybody that sits there and says, Edwin Diaz was always going to be a bust, I never believed in him. Listen, he was never as bad as we reacted to it. I know that's crazy to say, but if you look at Edwin Diaz's numbers, the first year with the Mets, his first month, he was lights out. And they just did not know how to use him properly. Mickey Callaway was a terrible manager. He used him, I think, 3 or 4 days in a row one time, and it just kind of, the Red Series kind of started the downfall, and that was about it. And he could never figure out a way to rebound. And they just used him terribly. He is an elite relief pitcher. I don't want to say closer. It's tough to really be an elite closer. There's very few. It's really only Mariano Rivera. That's about it. But Edwin Diaz is doing his best Mariano Rivera right now. Buck Showalter brought him in. I know he didn't get a clean inning yesterday. He gave up a hit to Altuve, and then he hit the next batter. But he was able to strike out Yordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman. And that was big. He showed how big his balls were. I don't know if I can say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. He showed he had some gusto. Dove, are you all right over there?
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm fine.
Oh, okay, God. Thank you very much. I know. Listen, 877-337-6666. So Mets are in full panic mode. We are not 100% there yet, but I'm like at 75% panic mode. The Mets need to, in the next week, make a move. If they don't, then panic is going to go through the roof. 877-337-6666.